why did you reunite? If I can say that this way, it was in 2009 or 2010,
I
right?
think we started talking about it in 2009, and we officially, let me think now, I think it was 2011 that we actually all got together for the first time in 16 or 15 years or something. It was like early, like February of 2011, but we started talking about it pretty much in 2010. And what kind of started the ball rolling was actually Dave Fortman, and was working on a record, was producing a record for Godsmack.
Yeah.
And you know, Shannon is the drummer for Godsmack, our drummer. So two of the guys in Ugly Kid Joe happened to be working together, and I guess it was in L.A. that they were working, and they started talking about an Ugly Kid Joe reunion. Like, oh, wouldn't that be fun? And wouldn't it be, you know, couldn't we do it? Considering that, you know, Dave would produce it, and he had a studio at the time, a really state-of-the-art studio in Louisiana. So he and Shannon started both calling myself and Whit, the singer, and saying, hey, you guys want to do a reunion? You know, I've got a studio here, we can just knock it out, you know, maybe an EP or something, whatever songs, you know, if you guys have any songs. So me and Whit said, sure. So Whit and I started, because Whit and I are both in California, and those guys are, Shannon's in Florida and Dave's in Louisiana. So Whit and I started getting together and writing some songs whenever we could here in California. And then eventually in, what was it, 2011, in February, I think it was, 2011, everybody flew out to California, and we all sort of met up in Los Angeles, and a friend of ours, Sonny Mayo, was working out of a studio there, and we pretty much, we just got a rehearsal place, and then, you know, recorded some rough track, or recorded the drums, and you know, Cordell was there too, he lives in Los Angeles, so the five of us, we started working there, and then we recorded, I don't know, about 10 raw ideas with drums and things. And then we ended up going to Louisiana a few months later and finishing it at Dave's studio. All five of us went for about, I don't know, maybe a week or something. And then Whit and I stayed for another 10 days to do guitars and vocals. And then Dave went ahead and mixed it. And then we picked the songs we liked, and we decided to make an EP. And we basically just released it on iTunes back in whatever that was. That was like last summer.
Yeah, I think it was 2012, yeah.
Yeah, 2012, I think. I'm just trying to think what month it was. It was like right June or July, because we had gotten booked a tour. Funny enough, it was funny, all these things happened at the same time. We got TKO, which is a booking agent, all of a sudden got us all these gigs, starting with Sweden Rock Festival, and then the big giant Download Festival in England,
Britain, yeah.
Donington, and that all kind of just showed itself. It was about a 5-week tour, and we went everywhere from England to Istanbul to Tel Aviv, Israel, to Romania. It was incredible. We went to a bunch of places we'd never been to before, and we opened for bands like Faith No More and
Guns N' Roses as well, right?
Guns N' Roses, yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
So it was cool after all these, 16 years pretty much of being dormant. We got to not only get together as a band and make a record, but we also got to do a really cool tour and, again, play in front of some great big crowds and open up. We got to open for, when we went on another tour, got to open up for Alice Cooper, got to do a whole bunch of shows with Duff McKagan's Loaded. So in about a 6-7 month period, we pretty much toured almost around the world. We did Brazil as well, and we got to play, like I said, with some pretty influential bands to us, even bands that we really grew up loving, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah. So that was a trip that we got to do all that.
So if you could remember the first one of the many shows that you did at this time, the very first show, just before going on stage, and just thinking, God, we haven't been playing for like 16 years together, and then we are going to be like thrown out in front of thousands of people there, like in the Download Festival. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What did you feel at that moment?
It was a trip, man. I have to say, the first show was, I believe it was June 6th in London at the Underworld or Underground, and it was a club show, and it had sold out like 3 months earlier. and it wasn't a big place. It was like maybe 600, but it was sold out, well ahead of time. And that was the first time for me that had been in that sort of, first time for us together, but also me personally, where I could, was like getting ready to go out and play in front of a sold out club show. And I can tell you, I was pretty damn nervous, honestly. I was, it was funny. Like before, I was like, oh no, this is just total bizarre. It was like, it was deja vu, but it was also kind of nerve wracking because, it's been a while. So, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. But then again, once we got on stage, the nervousness just kind of goes just disappears, and you just start playing, and then the next thing you know, it's more about, oh God, I've got to remember some of these parts. It's like the nervous stuff all goes away, and then all you're concentrating on is, first of all, you're just having a good time, but then you almost start having too good of a time, and you got to, since we haven't played together and played these songs in so long. Obviously, we rehearsed a lot, but I'm just saying, it's always different on stage. The sound, your mindset, everything's just so different. You're sweating. There's lights. There's a crowd. You tend to maybe speed up songs here and there. You tend to forget stuff because you're so excited. So then you start not worrying, but you start concentrating. Okay, I got to step back from the excitement of all this and take a deep breath and kind of pull back a little bit from the situation and play the songs right, make sure I do that right. But and then you kind of start to gel after a few songs, and you start to get a good balance of, okay, I got good adrenaline running, I'm having fun, I'm not forgetting my stuff, I'm not forgetting what I've been practicing for the last month, and then and every show got better.
Yeah.
Every show got better. I'll admit that show I made a lot of personally. I know I made a ton of mistakes.
I'm sure you're the only one who noticed them.
Yeah, well. Yeah, I afterwards I was like, oh man, I messed up so many times. The funny thing is, I messed up a lot of the easier stuff that I never usually mess up in rehearsal, and I have nailed the parts that I was having trouble with in rehearsal. Because you concentrate on that stuff and then you forget about the easy stuff. But as the tour went on, every week I felt more comfortable, and I think we as a band started playing better together, and it was the same for everybody. So by the time the tour was ended, we were pretty tight, and so. We ended up luckily being able to do 3 more tours, and by the third tour, it was like we never had, pretty much felt like we'd been playing, never really quit,
Yeah.
Just like it was like old hat, it was like riding a bike, it was no problem, and that's that.
Did you get some reactions from the fans, like after the shows or during the tours or whatever, like? People whom I think wanted you to reunite way before you did, and who were like, "Geez, at last we can see Ugly Kid Joe playing together again." Did you had some fan reaction like that?
Oh yeah, we do a lot of interviews for one thing the whole time we were touring, and we'd always do meet and greets afterwards, and people would tell us funny stories about how. They were just too young to see us the first time. They were like 14, and they didn't get the permission to see us from their parents or something like that. And their older brother got to go, and then bragged about it the whole time, that kind of stuff. And then they said stuff like, "Yeah, we waited 16 years to see you guys," And then we had funny stories where people would bring their kids. They said, "Oh yeah, you were the first band I ever saw, and this is my kid's first rock concert ever." So it was kind of funny because. We're older now, and then you start having your fans as kids come to your show. It's pretty silly, but it's cool. There's definitely a lot of kind of cool nostalgic moments for a lot of people, I think, including ourselves.
Yeah. And so you that was just after you released that EP called Stairway to Hell. Mm-hmm. Still in the same register, like kind of comical, ironical register. For example, your name, Ugly Kid Joe, is like is taken from another band's name, or if I can recall,
Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah, that's it, Pretty Boy Floyd. Your previous albums, like I think about America's Least Wanted Here, which is a terrific record, by the way, was kind of a little bit cynical about all the U.S. society and stuff like that. And now you, like 16 years after, you produce Stairway to Hell, which of course makes everybody think about Stairway to Heaven from Led Zeppelin. Why calling that Stairway to Hell? What's behind all that?
Oh, well, it's simply just we a couple of things we talked about when we did this reunion was that we were not going to try to be something else. That if we were going to do something else, we'd start a new band and start a new name. So we said if we're going to do an Ugly Kid Joe thing, let's keep it like it was, and let's do all those things that kind of made us Ugly Kid Joe, and made us a little unique in the fact that let's make sure we keep a sense of humor. We're not going to come out and make this really dark, sad record, because that's not us. So we also, one of the things we talked about was, what about the title of the record? We need to come up with like a kind of a funny little twist on words, like we always have, sort of a parody-ish name. And we had a list of like 20-something names of just stupid, silly things. And so that one always sort of survived the test, Slowly but surely names would get crossed off, and that one just barely always hung in there until at the end it all kind of just came together, and we're like, well, that'd be the perfect thing, because we're taking another name of a famous song and we're mixing it with another famous record, Highway to Hell and Stairway to Heaven, which are pretty opposite in their meaning.
Yeah.
And I think that was the kind of parody of it. Like, we're sort of, kind of mashing the two together, which happen to be two of our favorite bands of all time, Led Zeppelin and AC/DC. And it just sort of had a good ring to it, and we went with it. And then the art came together, and then everything came together with the logos and stuff. So it was a fun process.
Yeah, it's also very funny to hear in the EP that the ballad, the ballad's title is Another Beer. That's really funny. You sing like you have a really slow tune, really, you can say a little bit romantic, called Another Beer. I think that's totally what Ugly Kid Joe does, right?
I'm sorry, you kind of broke out there for that last question.
I said that the ballad of the EP called Another Beer.
Right, Another Beer, yeah.
I find that makes a little bit peculiar, you have a ballad, a very, very beautiful song called Another Beer, which is really not that beautiful, and I think it's really what Ugly Kid Joe does all the time, mixing things that wouldn't be mixed up with every other band, or
yeah, that's the thing. It's not a love song. I guess it's kind of a love song about beer, but but as long as it, again, it's one of those songs that hopefully people have fun with it, and it, sing along type song with a little sarcastic humor to it. It's sort of the sadness of it, but it's also the that moment of you just want one more, and that's the classic famous last line. So I'll just have another beer, and 20 beers later, you're who knows where you are. But it's always here in California. We got a closing time of 2:00, so at about 1:30, it's like this big rush to get your last beer, and and a lot of times you too late, and you're like, please, another beer, come on, just one before you close the place. And he's like, nah, man, I can't do it, and it's just a sad moment of just depression, like, what? I can't get one more, and you just started feeling good, so then you're all sad.
Well, same thing here, but imagine that we have a closing time at 1:00.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're in France? Are you in France?
Yeah.
Okay. It's at 1:00 there?
Yeah.
What about the clubs, though?
Well, I will have no more.
See, we don't have anything like that. I mean, sometimes in the big cities like LA they do, but legally speaking, everything you can't even have a drop of alcohol in your cup at 2 a.m. or the place can get shut down.
Yeah, it's the same thing here, but it's at 1:00. That's for normal bars. Then we have night bars, which close at 3:00.
See, we don't have that.
Okay, and then after the closing time of night bars, we go in nightclubs.
Right,
but usually you're too trash to go in the nightclub.
Right.
So you go home at 3:00.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You said that Led Zeppelin and AC/DC were two of your biggest favorite bands ever.
Right.
When we hear your music, it's kind of, a little bit of funk, hard funk, a little bit sometimes, and
Yeah.
especially I think on Stairway to Hell, which I found new nuances to your music that I didn't really see in the first record that you did in the early '90s. Would you have What are your main influences in music?
Well, in regards to that influence, the kind of funky stuff, maybe like the ending part of Everything About You,
Yeah,
or Madman. I'm trying to think of the few songs that kind of have a little bit of that, a little bit of the funk element. It was definitely a major influence of ours was the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was a band we totally idolized just because of their originality, the kind of fun craziness of the band, and the fact that they had that funky element. I would never consider us a funky band at all. We're more of a hard rock, heavy metal band, but we were big fans of the Chili Peppers, and you kind of try to emulate the bands that you really, really like. And I mean, seeing them live was sort of an eye-opening or mind-opening experience for me, because all I had ever gone to see was heavy metal bands and hard rock bands my whole life. And then I went and saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I saw this whole new scene of the underground, whatever you want to call that kind of I don't know, psycho freaky, like a little hip hop, funk, rock, metal, all kind of mashed together. And it was something that we definitely wanted to incorporate in our music. Now, we are by no means funk masters, although we did, when we were looking for a bass player, one of the things we wanted him to be able to do was to be able to play, slap bass and things like that. And we found Cordell, and he's like the perfect guy because he's great for rock, but he's also an amazing funk bass player. And he had a lot of that type of influence in his upbringing as a bass player, like Motown stuff and things like that. That was definitely some of his earliest and biggest influences. So that was kind of cool. It was a cool kind of marriage that and me and Whit came from the full-on heavy metal world of suburban California, listening to Van Halen and Judas Priest and AC/DC. And then when Dave Fortman joined the band, that was cool too, because he brought sort of a little bit of that country, southern rock feel that you kind of hear in a few songs. In fact, he's the one that plays Dobro all over Another Beer, which gives it that real kind of country feel. And he also wrote some of the songs like Milkman's Son, Would You Like to Be There, and songs that kind of have that more of I think it sounds slightly more southern rock. And he's from the South, so. And then of course Shannon, when he joined, he's just the baddest hard rock drummer, one of the best out there. So he just brought us, and he can play every type of style, so he just made the band just a whole lot better, simply because the drums are like so just the backbone of the band, and especially live, you can't really do it without a really good drummer.
Sure. Yeah, and you have that funky sound on some tunes, but you also have that really, really hard heavy rock. I think about songs like So Damn Cool or
Right.
I'll Keep Trying, which are really, really heavy. And sometimes you can see the similarity with a band that came after you, called Freak Kitchen. Do you know that band?
No.
It's
Never.
when you hear some songs, you hear Agul Kidjo,
No, I've never. Freak Kitchen.
Yeah, Freak Kitchen.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, listen to that.
Where are they from?
Sweden. I think.
Okay.
The guy's name Mattias Ia Eklund.
Okay.
Yeah, Freak Kitchen. If you could listen to some records like Appetizers, or I will send you some if you want.
Okay, I'll look it up. Probably anything on YouTube I could find. You think?
Hardly, because they are not really that popular.
Yeah, you can email me if you want. That'd
Yeah,
be
I will
great.
email you one.
You have mine.
So you are the main guitarist, of course, of Ugly Kid Joe, and I see that you're a lefty, right?
Yeah. You can. Well, doesn't Skype flip everything?
No, but
Oh no, it flips the one that I'm looking at.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm looking in a mirror, but you're looking at just me as regular. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
saw the pick guard on the acoustic guitar is on the left
Yeah.
side, on the side for lefties. So
Yeah.
just figured you were a lefty.
Yeah, I'm a lefty.
And so you did release that EP it was 1 year ago. Obviously, we are going to speak about the
Yeah, it was
possibility of a
June.
new record.
Yeah, it was June or July, and we're actually just re-releasing it in America because we got picked up by a independent record label, or I'm sure, sorry, distribution company, RED Distribution. So April 16th, which is coming up, right? Yeah, a couple of weeks. We are re-releasing it with 3 new acoustic songs on there, old songs. We just, for fun, we just got in the studio real quick, and in a couple of days, mainly with Shannon, with Cordell and Dave mainly got together and put together sort of like a bonus track, so to speak. So it's not the exact same thing as it already was. And then so that's cool. Technically it's 9 songs now.
Yeah, so that's a very long EP actually.
Yeah, we were wondering, is it still an EP? But I guess it's still. And then we're talking about I'm working on a few songs right now. Whit's got a few songs, ideas. Dave does too. So hopefully sometime in the near. Probably after we're gonna actually tour back in Europe this summer, so we're talking about maybe after that getting together and seeing where this all leads to, and if it can lead back into the studio, that would probably be the time it would happen. Yeah, we're definitely going to Europe in end of July and early August, and then we're gonna see if how long we can string that tour out. But we're definitely going to be in we're actually playing the Polish Woodstock.
Yeah.
Which is on August 1st, and it's like 500,000 people, average attendance. Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah,
so
if
that many people really show up like they say what they will, that'll be the biggest show we've ever played, hands down. Which is again very funny considering that it's been 16 years, Yeah. And all of a sudden we're doing things that we couldn't even do back when we were let's just say we had our moment there where we were very popular and we could. Sell out all over the place, but we still never got to go to Israel or Eastern Europe. Really, I don't think we ever played in Eastern Europe. And all of a sudden, now, 16 years later, 17, 18 years later, we're going to some really cool places that we always wanted to go. But back then, it just wasn't even though we were more popular back then, there wasn't the infrastructure to just go and play in, Israel and Poland and, Bulgaria and places like that.
Yeah. And
so that's cool.
What do you think? I was speaking with my guitar teacher, and he's a big fan of you guys.
Right.
He actually taught me a song called I'll Keep Trying, and he was telling me Ugly Kid Joe to Hellfest this year. I bet you $100 they will be there, and I said, we'll see. And so
wait, what about Hellfest?
He thought you were going to be in Hellfest, and I think many people thought about you being at Hellfest. Did you get any contact from them or?
Yeah, I forget what happened with that. Shoot, I don't remember. I think. Okay, I'm thinking we played. No, I don't think. Yeah, you're right. We didn't do the Hellfest. I think it may have been really close that we might have done it. I think it may have been a thing where we already had, what do you call it, something else going on, and we couldn't do both. I can't remember, but I do remember talking to somebody about it at some point.
All right. And would you think doing Hellfest someday, or?
Yeah, it's when is it?
It is this year. It is on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of June.
Yeah, no, I have not heard anything about doing it this year. I think it's probably already full up by now.
Yeah.
The bill.
But anyway,
you never know.
If you release a new record, it'll be a great occasion to maybe have a little show in France. I think you have lots of fans there.
Let me see if we are playing in France. I can't. I've only gotten a few, 6 confirmed shows so far.
Okay.
Let me look real quick. Why is it doing it? Okay. Okay, here we go. 1 second. Oops. could have sworn there's. I know we're playing in Belgium. We're doing a festival there, so that's real near you, right?
It is, yeah.
We're doing where's this? A couple shows in Germany, the Polish one, Wacken, Germany, Luckers Festival.
You go to Wacken?
Yeah. We're playing the Wacken 2013, their festival there. And then we're doing there. I know there's right now we only have 6 confirmed shows.
Yeah.
But there was a few more. Like I think there was one in Czechoslovakia, and I think there may have been one in France actually, but I'm not sure.
We have 2 festivals in France. One is called Hellfest.
Right.
Well, 2 metal festival actually, 2 heavy rock festivals. One is called Hellfest, is in Clisson,
right.
in June, and the other one is called the Monoculture Fest. And this is the smallest one, and it's in August.
That could be possible, or even just a show, like a club show somewhere in France. I could have sworn there was one in France, but I said it hadn't been confirmed, so I don't have it on my list here. But yeah, France is rad. We played in what was that place? We played. It was like the 5th show or something in outside of Paris.
Near Paris, but outside of Paris?
Yeah, like 45 minutes outside. I forget the name.
South?
I don't know. It was. And it was a club. It was a small club, but it was totally jam-packed, and it was like the most crazy crowd. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's all over. You can go on YouTube and check it out. You can see, like, because everybody's got their iPhones now and their whatever
sure.
cameras and things. So, but yeah, that was a really fun concert. Definitely one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as your the gear that you use, what kind of guitar you plays or amps or? Well,
I think mainly for recording, I try to use like a Gibson Les Paul and a Marshall amp, an older Marshall, like I think it's like a 1983 JCM 800, and I use a Rat distortion box, and that's like the basic sound. But that amp doesn't for touring. I've switched over to Orange amps. I really like their rocker verb amp. I think they get the cool thing about them is that's all you need is that amp. You don't need a distortion box. You don't need a clean channel.
Yeah,
you don't need a clean amp. It's just it has a really good clean sound and a really good distorted rock sound, and it's all right there, and it's super easy to use. It's got like 6 knobs, and because a lot of the new amps I was going to look into a few, and they just have like 20 knobs and like 4 channels, and I just was confused because I'm used to just a Marshall and then a clean amp for clean stuff, and Marshall's the 800s are like the most basic setup. What is it? Mid, bass, treble, presence, preamp, and volume, and that's what I'm used to. And then all these new companies come out and they add in like depth, super drive or whatever the hell, and you're like, I don't know what is this? It's like a new. I'm old school, so when I tried out the Oranges, I really liked the fact that they were set up almost exactly like a Marshall, and you had 2 channels, one clean and one dirty, and I was like, that's all I need. And I take a wah pedal and a tuner and a noise gate sometimes, and that's it. That's my whole setup.
And you play on Gibson Les Paul as well on stage?
Actually, stage I don't. The Gibson I just kind of keep here. I have, I was going to mess around, but I kind of ended up going back to my old favorite guitar, which was it was an ESP that I got way back in the day, and I'm actually right now putting together my real first guitar, first one that I toured with, which is a guitar I built myself, sort of, with some ESP parts. So I'm going to probably take those 2 out. They're just, like what is the damn thing? Oh, it's at the guy. It's in the shop right now. It's like a kind of like the Eddie Van Halen style guitar. It's just a real simple. It's like an ESP strap body with like a Fender style neck with a Floyd Rose and one humbucker pickup in the bridge, and then a single coil in the neck position. And that I only really use that for clean, is that the top pickup, the little one. And for almost everything, 90% of everything else, I just use the main humbucker pickup in the bridge position.
So why are you using the Les Paul in studio and the other ones on
Um,
stage?
well, the Les Paul, honestly, it's kind of heavy and cumbersome, I think, for live.
Yeah.
I only have one. It's a nice older one. It's like a 19. I think it's what is it? Oh, it's not that old. I'm sorry. It's like a 90 something. It's a nice guitar. You know, I've had two Les Pauls in my life, and I ended up selling one because I just didn't like it, and this one I really liked. So I didn't really want to. I mean, Les Pauls are pretty expensive, and I didn't really want to ruin it because I really like the sound of it, and I figured, but you know, live the other guitars sound great too. They're all mahogany bodies, that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess the other guitars are more comfortable, honestly, to play live.
Yeah.
Les Paul's great for just in the studio standing around, but the ESP style Strats just are more comfortable, and those are the ones I always used to play live, and I ended up going back to them. I do have an ESP, a limited ESP. What do you call it? You know, their Les Paul, the ESP Les Paul, which I use as
Epiphone.
like my back. It's like my main backup guitar.
Okay.
It's EC whatever. It's over in the other room. But yeah, no, I like those too.
Yeah.
They're a little lighter, which is kind of nice. But I still ended up going back to like the original guitars I played back in the day.
Okay.
Even though they're totally beat up, man. I mean, they look terrible, but I like it.
It's cool, like grungy guitars, right? But you do you use like standard tuning, or do you drop a little bit, or use other tunings?
Well, I'm sorry, do we do other tunings, you say?
Yeah, like are you in standard tuning all the time, or do you I think E
We-
flat or something like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, it's a long story, but basically we play half step down everything, but regular, you know, E through E, you know, it's tuning, and then we do drop D to, you know, we drop the, you know, the low E to a whole step for stuff like maybe 3 songs. I mean, in total, like maybe 5, but that we do live, maybe 2 or 3. We do like Devil's Paradise is in drop D, and No One Survives. 2 of the new songs are both in drop D, and those we've been playing a lot those live.
Yeah, okay. But usually it's always a half step down.
Yeah, half step break, but you know, regular tuning, and then we drop the D for a couple songs.
Yeah, all right. Okay. So
Drop
what are
the E
your
to D. Sorry,
yeah?
E flat to D flat. Is there such a thing as a D flat?
I think it is. Yeah.
That's so bad. Like I have to like count the frets, and yeah, fret.
Well, look, I have this little little stuff here.
Yeah, wait, sorry.
Really useful. It's you know all the
Oh,
notes on the neck.
Wait, say again.
These are the.
Hello. You're kind of. Oh, what is that?
It's the neck of the guitar. See? And these are all the French the French names of the notes, because you know E in French would be mi, A would be la, D would be ré. We have different name to call the notes.
Ah.
Yeah. So now, actually, at the moment, you are in California with Wit. Wit is in California as well.
No,
So
no,
you don't live together. I know that.
Yeah, the was it the Partridge Family? No, Wit's in Costa Rica right now.
Okay. And what are your I mean, what is the band doing at the moment? Like preparing for European tours this summer? Maybe composing a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing. We're actually right now. We're about to re-release the EP, so we're doing a lot of setup for that. We're you know.
Are you going to have some shows in America, in California, or?
We don't have anything set yet. Obviously, that would be fun. We might do something coming up here, but right now the only absolute thing is that we are re-releasing the EP with the 3 new songs, or 3 acoustic songs, I should say, and then we're coming to Europe in the summer, and then we'll see if something in between pops up.
Do you have
And yes, we are writing and coming up with ideas for new songs.
Do you have an idea of the songs you'll be playing in Europe this summer?
Oh yeah, we ended up doing like an hour and a half set list with pretty much something from every record we ever did. Obviously, a lot of stuff from America's Least Wanted. We play about one, two. I think we played four of the new songs of the original six from the EP. We might want to start playing "Would You Like to Be There," which I don't think we've ever played. There's definitely and then we had like we got a few covers we were doing. We were doing some Motorhead, some AC/DC, and we might learn something new, a different cover. Of course, we play Everything But You, Cats in the Cradle, that stuff. Yeah, it's we, like I said, we play pretty much a few songs from each record we ever did.
Yeah.
And it ends up being about an hour and a half. Like I said, throw in a couple covers, and then every now and then I get forced into singing "Mr. Record Man."
And which is the number 13 on the record, I think.
I'm sorry, just that kind of broke up there.
Yeah. What would be your favorite Ugly Kid Joe song?
What was that?
What would be your favorite Ugly Kid Joe song?
Oh wow. Fuck. I mean, I guess in a messed up. Well, it wouldn't be my favorite song, but I think the one that
what if you took the acoustic guitar that is behind you and play it so that I see if I recognize it?
Oh, let's see.
Would you do that?
Sure.
No, that's great. Oh man, nice pick.
That's from the old school too, I think. Oh no, these are the old ones.
It's really different from the picks we can find now.
See if there's any really old ones. Make it authentic. I know I got some really old ones or something.
Make it authentic.
Can't find any of the old ones. Okay.
Looks like you have a lot of them.
Yeah, but they're not. They're all from like different things. Huh. I think I gave them all away.
Really?
You know these? You know these guys?
Snot?
Yeah.
No.
They're also from Santa Barbara, and it's a long story, but
tell me.
Sonny is the guitar player from Snot, who also played in Head PE and Seven Dust, and he's the guy that we originally did the original recordings with for the new EP, and he is now our other guitar player because Dave couldn't really go on the long tour. Yeah. So we got Sonny basically took Dave's place. And it's kind of funny because they kind of look alike, and they're both very good guitar players, and they're both good friends too. So it's this weird thing where it's like we've kept it in the family, but it's funny. It's just funny because they're like a lot alike, but also very different. So, but anyway, it's been going great. We've had, with both of those guys. But I don't know. That's the band he used to be in was Snot, and they're.
So you use the Snot.
Oop. Oh.
Oh yeah.
That's probably my favorite newer song that we've got.
Could you lower the camera so that we can see the guitar a little bit? Yeah, there you go. Really cool.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
I like that. Trying to think. I like also playing. I love it when you That's the No One Survived. That one's fun to play. God, those are probably two of my favorites. Oh, I like playing.
Lower the camera, please, so that we can see the guitar as well.
What?
Could you lower the camera so that we can see you playing the guitar? Yeah, great.
That one? What's that? I'm All Right. I like playing that one. That gets the crowd going because it's got a good tempo.
Yeah, it's really, really good song. Personally,
I
really love
rocker songs.
I'll Keep Trying. I think that's my favorite. I really like the end of I'll Keep Trying.
Oh yeah. Oh man, we haven't played that in forever. That
really?
Weird we did. That's the weird. It was like it's like a three. It's like do 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 do. Yeah, it's like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 5 1 2 3.
Yeah,
that was us just having fun with like doing a weird ending, like we didn't. That was no formula. We were just like, let's do something weird kind of thing.
You remember how to play it, right?
I couldn't play it for you right now.
Really? I think it's something like that. I don't remember.
I forgot it.
No, I think it's something like that.
Are you in regular E, huh? Or not?
Huh?
Are you in regular E?
Yeah.
I get spoiled.
Maybe it's something like that.
I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a half step up for me, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, this thing's way out of tune.
Yeah, I mean regular E. Something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm a half step down. Yeah, you got it. Don't worry about it.
I think.
Yeah, and then of course I like playing. That one paid the bills for a long time.
Yeah, I can guess.
Still does some of them bills.
Really? Yeah.
Not a lot, but enough for a few beers here and there.
Because it was your song that
It pays the cable bill.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
the guitar fixing bill.
Wi-Fi.
But it's like the song that was everywhere on the radio at the time, right?
Yeah, it was crazy with that. What happened with that song? I mean, we had no. I mean, we just it was pretty cool. That was like the ultimate overnight thing where you're like literally from absolute obscurity playing tiny clubs, 200 people showing up, and all of a sudden you have a hit on the radio and 800 people are showing up, and there's a line out front, and every day you hear your song on the radio, or see it on MTV.
What do you feel when that happens? Because I
think you're all excited, and it's hearing a song on the radio for the first time is really, really amazing— you've been listening to the radio your whole life, and you kind of always hope that'd be kind of cool to have it. That would be really cool to have a song on the radio. You don't, we were always a rock band, so a lot of the stuff I listened to wasn't on the radio anyway. But when you hear your song get played on the radio for the first time, it's like, it's a pretty cool moment. That's one of the highlights, I think, of the experience of being in a band. For me, was that hearing like a song of ours being played on the radio. I think we were just driving somewhere and it came on, and we all just were like, "Oh my God, listen!" And we turned it up, and everybody got quiet. And we listened to the whole thing, and it was a moment where you're like, "This is what how the other people hear it. This is how everybody's experiencing it." Because we been in the studio and recorded and listened to it a million times in different ways. And then that's finally the moment where you're like, whoa, there it is. And then we did the video for it, because the song kind of took off on its own. It was like the #1 requested song in the United States for like a month straight, and it was very, like, way more than any other song. I remember seeing the chart at one of the radio stations, and they'd had to add pages because every time someone called, they'd check, that it was requested. And of course, it was the ultimate, I want to dedicate this song to my ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend because I hate them. So it's kind of a messed up signal, but obviously it's all in good fun. It's just a joke of a song. It's like not to be taken literally, but there's a lot of people that get in that situation where they would like to play a song like that for somebody, and that was the kind of the funny thing about it, that it wasn't a love song. Usually hits are love songs. Yeah. About love and about how much you love someone or want to be with them, and this song's like the exact opposite. So in a way, that was actually kind of cool, because we'd hear what DJs would say afterwards, and they were like, they'd laugh and they'd say, "Oh, finally someone's saying what we're really all thinking," instead of these everybody's always getting perfect love song or their heart's broken, and this is like the exact opposite, which is a totally normal emotion. I'm not trying to get all deep on the song because it's not, but you know what I'm saying, like. It was kind of like there was a vacuum that we filled with that song, and that's why I think it became so popular.
Yeah.
It's no masterpiece or anything like that. I just think that it was, like I said, it was kind of original in its whole take on the whole, kind of being a parody on a love song.
The impression I have when I hear everything about you is that you had such a huge fun doing that song.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of our songs are just, we did because they, like Neighbor, for instance, that's another one of my favorite songs that we do.
That one is really great as well. It's the first one, right, on the America's Release one.
America's one, yeah, and that because it's kind of got a lot of cool elements. It's got a heavy riff, which is always my favorite thing. Like that kind of AC/DC style, with the chugging riff. It's got, I think, pretty cool lyrics. I like the lyrics. It's about the nightmare neighbor from hell. And it's got some cool breakdowns and things, so that's definitely a fun one to play live. And I think it's also one of our better songs from the old days. That's I can't. Pan and the Prince, I like playing that one a lot. That's a really fun song to play live. It's a little long, but it's got some changes.
That one is really.
It's also I like the story too. It's about a total, it's about a street bum that's actually sort of enjoying it. And yeah,
who's panhandling, right?
So yeah, I actually like some of our songs.
Yeah, but well, when I first listened to America's Least Wanted, I was really stunned by the sound that you guys had. It was like 92 or 91, and you had such a great sound. It was like really heavy and clear, well, distorted of course, but like when you hear bands from the 90s, the sounds it's not as well produced, like the records are not as well produced as that one. I mean, when you played those songs, it's really amazing the sound that comes out of the tuner. Did you I know that you did it. The guy who produced it, he was Mark Dodson.
Yeah. We just saw him in England about just last year, like on our tour. He came out, and he's just a great guy, and great producer, super fun to work with, especially for a band at that point in our lives. It was really our first full-length album. We'd done the EP before, but that we did in like a few days, and that was more basically a demo. And then we got together with him to do our first full-length album for the major label, and so it was a kind of nerve-wracking time for us because we were really nervous, you know, because we were like, this might be our only chance. If this album fails, it's over. And we got to make sure that but we at the same time, we were a pretty green band. We had only been really together. Some of those songs were less than a year old. So we'd only been together for a little over a year as that lineup. And so it was a lot of, like, half that record was pretty much written and put together in the studio itself. So we needed somebody like him to really sort of help us in the writing and the more arranging of the songs, and dealing with the different egos, like not egos, but the different personalities of the band. Because, like, again, we were all pretty young, and we were really new to this, and a lot of crazy stuff was happening around us, and a lot of stuff was disfocusing us because we just had this massive hit record with Everything About You. So this was all going on while we were in the studio trying to make our first full-length album. So he was like really the kind of the binding glue that kept it all together and kept us from, just kept us focused somewhat as much as he could. And he got his speciality is guitar sounds, which of course for me was great because he spent a lot of time, we mixed all kinds of crazy old Marshalls and stuff, and that was a lot of fun even doing that. And so that was Mark Dodson's great. We love him. Yeah. Like I said, we just hung out with him not too long ago. We went out to dinner with him in London, and he's just the same exact guy. He's like a grown kid, He was like one of us in the studio, even though he was the one making sure we were getting shit done. He was having as much fun as we were, so to speak, Yeah. Even though his neck was on the line just as much as ours was, but he never let it get to it, and he kept it lighthearted, and he kept us having a good time. He's a funny guy, which helped a lot, and especially for this band, we try to keep a sense of humor about everything, and I think that's important.